Hello everybody. Welcome to demo number 8, right, Stefan? Is
Nice,
this
you
number
got
8?
it.
Alright.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, welcome to Plasmo demo number 8. It's your boy Lewis and my co-founder Stefan here. And we are going to show you a lot of stuff today at the Plasmo HQ. The Plasmo HQ actually span all over the place, so actually we actually don't have an office, but it's online and we're having fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're
past week, I think
Lewis, before you start, sorry to
uh,
cut you off. My browser can't. Oh, okay. Oh,
from
interesting.
technical difficulty.
So there is a offset. So like when I click on a button on our live streaming software, it's actually like it thinks my mouse is here. So let me position it correctly to where I can click on the add button.
Oh Lord. All right,
Uh,
ladies and gentlemen, we have some technical difficulty, so let's wait for Stefan. But so today, I think the agenda for today's demo would be that I would be so last week I kind of botched the Wistripe demo, so to remedy that today, I'm going to demo first. I'm going to demo the Stripe demo appetizer, and then something's really wrong with the streaming here. My face also gone. But
no,
anyway,
it's because I'm moving scenes. Sorry, just
all
ignore
right.
me for a second.
So after my Stripe demo, Stefan will be coming up with two interesting demo. One would be our kind of a, I'll say it's actually a feature of the internal bundler that we're using for Plasmo, but we just figured out how to actually do certain things that we didn't know were possible before. And I think community member would love to see this, which is the ability to bundling web accessible resource into the extension using the URL scheme. And then lastly is a demo of our paid offering, the our code Itero. And the name Itero actually came from so originally it was named iteration, because one of the frustration with developer extension developer is that the speed of iteration when you're trying to test out product and like working with the customer is very very slow. You have to go through the entire whole like code review with Google and stuff. Actually, extension review with Google it'll take about 5 days or so, and it causes this giant friction between like coding and testing. And so we actually so Plasmo Itero is okay. So Itero is kind of a misspelling. So Stefan kind of misspelled the word iterate at one time. Actually, I did. I think I'm the one who misspelled it, and then we're like, oh, okay, it looked interesting. Maybe you can use it. And then we came up with a name in kind of a Latin-ish, like false Latin fashion. I don't think it's Latin, right? Or is it actually? Is it like legit Latin?
I have no idea. It is if you want it to be.
I guess
Um,
so. All right. So Itero is basically a Plasma solution for the problem of iterating on Chrome extension development, so that the time frame of shipping code to actually going to customer and testing for beta tester, by the way, beta tester, not prod customer, is significantly shortened. And Stefan will be demoing that the flow of how that would work and how that would enhancing developer productivity.
Sounds
Yeah, should
good.
we even talk about the pricing for that? Because it is our paid offering.
Yeah, it's part of our so it's part of our SaaS solution because the thing is like for this to work, it's not just source code, right? Like source code, like the Plasma framework, we give the source code out as free open source. This is like actually on our servers, we do like some computations, we give out like storage, stuff like that. Um, so
Yeah, the
it
key
can
idea. I think the
so
key idea when you pay for Itero, you'll be paying for hosting. You will be paying for support. We'll pay for the binary generation that we create for you. So yeah, basically the flow of using Itero would require to run a binary on the host machine for each of your beta tester. Yeah,
yeah,
so that takes a lot of work to
let's
actually put in.
let's like demo it and showcase it.
Sounds good.
And yeah, let's have the code do the talking.
Sounds good. Yeah, basically the pricing is $30 a month. So if anyone interested, feel free to sign up. I
Yeah,
think we
and
are ready for.
we're offering like what's it called? Yeah, premium support with that, and then all the SaaS stuff that you're gonna see today. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Actually, let me go first. So I think the screen sharing working now. So last week we talked about the with Stripe example, and I think I went through a little bit of the setting up on the documentation, right? So the idea of Stripe is when you want to add Stripe to your Chrome extension, um, there is one single kind of one caveat is that normally when you add Stripe to a website, you have to use their Stripe link, the Stripe the Stripe hosted code on Stripe server. The idea is that to be there's a standard called PCI, and to be PCI compliant, you need to actually use Stripe kind of hosted code. Otherwise, it would be not PCI compliant basically, and all the banking and then the credit card would actually show that hey, this payment form might not conform to PCI, and the customer might be worried about using it. So the easiest way to circumventing that is actually just to use a Stripe hosted payment link, which when you go to the Stripe payment link, and this is how it looked like. So when we open, so I have my with Stripe example extension here. And so when I open up my Stripe example extension, there's a button that says subscribe to paid feature. When I click that, it actually redirect me to the Stripe payment page. So because this Stripe payment page is wholly controlled by Stripe, and the code in here, everything now is not Stripe. It is then it will be fully PCI compliant basically, and the user should feel safe to actually providing their kind of a card information here. So I'm using a test card right here to turn on this subscription. So after the subscription is done, now when I open up this subscribe to paid feature,
But does it take like a little bit to update? Like how does it figure out whether you're subscribed?
oh, remember last time? I think we messed up the demo last time. Last time on the with Stripe demo, we removed the check.
Oh, just to show how it works.
Yes, we did. Oh Lord. Okay, let me fix that real quick. Subscription might be bugging again. Yeah, I should have. Okay, let me do the subscription dot what is it? Status, I believe, equal to active. All right, let's do that.
Are you running the dev server?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It is running right now. Yeah, so basically for the with Stripe example, you have to run two things, right? You have to run both the extension developer, the developing server, and also a Next.js application server that actually serving the Next.js server actually serve our kind of API. It's a very lightweight API to just checking the status of a subscription basically. And so now it should it should be able to it swap from subscribing to the extension to calling the payment feature. When you code it, basically code the feature, it get this 147 number, which is a secret number coming from our API. That's just an example, very simple example of how you can now enable the paid feature from Stripe using Stripe, right? So user would pay you monthly for this paid feature that would call your premium API that is guarded behind the Stripe payment protocol. And the protection actually comes from the integration between Chrome extension or auth flow. So before user can actually use the Stripe payment, they have to sign in to the extension first using OAuth. After they have finished the OAuth flow and logging in, the Chrome extension actually will generate an access token, and we use the access token to send back to the server, and we verify the access token before we verify and we parse the access token. The code is very simple. It simply use the Google Auth library.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Louis?
Yes. We just remove the sidebar. So we use the auth client from the Google Auth library to simply, we initializing the client using the access token received from the client side, and then we ensure that we can actually access the user info to get their email. So we get the ID, the email, and their name, and from that we can get we use the email to actually fetching the subscription on the Stripe side. Yeah, and that basically is very simple, very lightweight API to do that. And overall, it should protect your product and and the user purchase. And basically now you can it's very simple to charge people for your service on top of the extension. Yeah. So that should conclude the Stripe demo, I think. Is there anything that I left off?
No, I think that makes sense. So if people want to use Stripe, this is like one of their ways to like sort of do a quick start, right?
Precisely. Yeah, and one of the cool things with our Stripe solution, right, or especially when you use it Plasmo, is that if you ever make a Chrome extension with plain plain extension, no framework, and just even with Parcel framework, even with Parcel bundler, or even I would say even with most other bundler they don't care about your manifest at all. So you have to put a lot of these raw URL into your manifest, and then you have to actually have two separate build, right? Two separate kind of a manifest, one for dev, one for prod, right? With Plasmo, that is just environment variable. With Plasmo, you have a
Could
single
you
manifest
zoom
file.
in, Louis? Just real
What is
quick.
that?
Could you just
Yeah.
zoom in? Just
Yeah.
show that back.
So for Plasmo, when you use Plasmo, everything now is just env development and env production, and you specify your environment variable, and then all you have to do now is just put that variable inside your manifest, and that's it. So when you build for dev, you have the dev environment. When you build for prod, you have the prod environment. You don't have to have you don't have to compose. You don't have to recomposing your manifest anymore. That's it. Manifest now just a configuration for your extension. It's extremely kind of developer friendly, I would say, and like this is what I would wish I had when we made our first extension a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like anytime we make a feature, that's like the phrase we say, right? Damn, I wish I had this when I was building a coding session. And I guess that's why we built that stuff, right?
I know, right? Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was recently watching a talk from Rich Harris.
Oh yeah, the founder of Svelte.
Yeah, and he was saying that he built that framework because he was encountering these problems working at the New York Times doing data visualization. So I feel like we're kind of in the similar boat where like we were building Chrome extensions and we're like, Jesus, like there's got to be a better way. Yeah. So.
Yeah, here's like the manifest that you would have to compose using Plasmo basically, right? The key, having a key in the manifest is one of the most dirty thing ever, in my opinion. I mean, although it's your public key, right? But I still think that the ability to have it as an environment variable, I think is extremely valuable.
Well, also, Louis, if you have a key there and then you try to upload to the Chrome Web Store, it's going to deny you.
Yeah, because they try to generate your own key, right?
Exactly. So I think like from what I've seen on like various Chrome extensions on GitHub, they'll use stuff like JQ and then try to delete that. Like they'll basically have like bash scripts, like random stuff, and it's like
just dirty stuff. Yeah, precisely, just dirty. Yeah.
So,
although one of the cool thing, right, is that we can actually share. We can share a lot of our environment variable, right? We can share the environment variable between the manifest and the code itself. So it's super kind of well contained. Yeah. All right. With that,
yes.
I will pass along to Stefan to talk about our two cool two final demo, saving the best for last, right?
Yeah, so the let me go here first. Okay. So the thing about the first demo is I guess like technically a little bit of it was us, but it's mostly like Parcel doing the heavy lifting. So shout out to Parcel for this. Um, so if you don't know, Parcel is the bundler we use under the hood. And specifically like the thing that a lot of, so we've gotten like so many requests. So usually when people have requests, it's like we just build out the feature that they asked for. So that's kind of been the standard. So like when people were like, oh, I want to be able to mount Shadow DOM, right? We just built the feature out and so on and so forth. The one that we kept getting, which we ended up finding like various different like workarounds, was how do I set up a web accessible resource, and then how do I like reference that from my content script. And there were variations of that theme, but that was the general idea, right? And the thing is, like, we basically said like, oh, you should use like different schemes for importing, like data base64, data text, and so on and so forth. And a lot of people managed to get their stuff working using those schemes, but there were still like edge cases where people really like that just didn't work for them. They really needed to use web accessible resources. So I spent some time digging into it, looking just at like the Parcel code itself to figure out what's going on. And I stumbled upon this like awesome feature that Parcel has, where they use a raw URL. I think it's a raw URL transformer. And what that does, it's really cool. So let me show you guys the code, and then we can like dig into it. Cool. Let me zoom in. Go back to Brave so I can see my own code. All right, cool. All right, how does that look, Louis, on your end?
I think it's visible.
Awesome. So there is this URL scheme called, like, there's this import scheme called URL. And what this does is it will it'll go to this, like, it'll try to like come up with the URL for this asset. So let's dig into this a little bit and like figure out what's happening under the hood. So if we look at the built content scripts, this is like content.tsx. So this is like mounting, it's called index popup, but just pretend like it's a content script thing. So let me like show you guys the high level overview, and then we'll dig into it. So we have this React component. If you've ever done a Plasma init, you'll know all about this. But the one thing that we've added here is the iframe source. And here we're specifying this thing called iSource from this URL. And when we go to that folder, so that's resources, and then we go to something.html, we'll see that we have an HTML file containing blah, right? So when we go to Chrome, so let me go to Chrome right now. This extension is called NV Idiotic Dragonfly, which is kind of funny. So when we go to like plasmo.com, for example, you'll see welcome to your Plasma extension, and then we'll see the iframe blah. So when we go to inspect element here, and let me like zoom in a lot.
All
right. So when we go to the iframe, we see that it's referencing so like when we look at the code, when we look at the code, it's iframe source, iSource. And then what's happening here is this is being replaced by Chrome extension, arg extension ID, something, and then the content hash.html. So it's like working perfectly, right? The question is like, what's going on under the hood? So when we look at the build folder, you'll notice that we have a content script, a built content script. So when I do like iframe to see what the iframe is, it'll point me to something HTML default. So let me see what that is. And so that's referencing something HTML. And that is doing a require on URL resources something. And so let me show you guys something cool. So when you look at the actual yes. So we have the something content hash here. And what's interesting is there's this thing called get bundle URL. So what this is basically saying is, hey, give me the actual URL that like basically give me the sort of base URL for these links. So what I found is that like Parcel uses error to figure out what that is, which is kind of like, wow, that's interesting. So what they do is they throw an error and then they catch it, and then they look through the stack trace to figure out what the like actual like what this is, and then they prepend that. So that's what's happening here. Is they are getting that value, and then they are appending something dot, and then they figure out the content hash based on the packager injecting the resolving the URL dependency, and then they provide a date, probably like
it's a pretty clever solution, right? I think
it really is. And
by the way,
just for caching, like to prevent caching.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure why that was the case. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna say something, Lewis?
I'm thinking. So remember, there's a person on GitHub asking about how his feature would work if they want to import in some TypeScript stuff. What if? So I think to import in TypeScript in that index HTML, you might also have to use the URL, so it can point to Chrome. Because that person trying to importing the TS file, right? But then he was saying that it doesn't work because it's pointing directly to the current web page. But he kind of wants to use the Chrome, what is it? The Chrome extension kind of protocol.
Right. Yeah.
So using URL might work there, right?
Using the URL might work there. So I'm actually not too familiar with the case you're talking about.
Oh, wait. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, but most likely it would work as long as it's being referenced from the content script.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the limitations of this. If you're doing this from the background script, it won't work because the Parcel packager looks through your content scripts to figure out how to generate the web accessible resources in your manifest. That's something that we'll play around with. The other limitation of this is if you're doing execute script on background and you want to inject a web accessible resource into the page, that is tricky, and you'll have to do some like weird hacks. So I think one of the things to me, like if we like the perfect scenario where there would be no leaky abstractions is for us to somehow like figure out that you're doing an execute script, and then we actually resolve all the dependencies within the function that we inject. So that way, like when you inject that function, it comes bundled with all of your dependencies there. And then that way, like you can like inject an entire like React component if you wanted. But that's sort of the idea. And right now, the only way to do main world scripts is to inject scripts. So unfortunately, like there are these limitations, but I guess it is what it is. Cool. Anything else here that maybe I didn't highlight, Lewis?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we might have to make some example on this, right? Eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So example is coming. Just to showcase like this feature, but we don't have one right now. We do have docs for this, but no example yet.
Yep. All right.
Cool. All right. So now, saving the best for last, let's talk about Itero testbed.
Nice.
So one of the things we kept hearing over and over again from people building extensions like that kind of are used by a lot of people, they want their extension to be production ready, but at the same time, they don't want to have errors every time like they deploy because the Chrome Web Store review process takes so long. But at the same time, they want to get their extension in the hands of their beta testers. So be it like their team or, let's say like you have investors that you want to give your extension to. Maybe you have like other kind of people on some sort of beta. Right now, it's pretty tricky to kind of give out your extension. Like most people, I think what they do is they have like a Google Drive or a Dropbox. Whenever there's a new version that they want to give to their beta testers, they upload it to their Dropbox, and then they send out the link to all their beta testers saying like, hey, please update. And that's not perfect. Like sometimes you kind of have to beg your beta testers to update, and some people might be like 4 versions behind, and every time, and like there's a lot of friction. So we wanted to get rid of all of that. So we built this thing called testbed. So the general idea is the following. Let me remove this for now. So this is the extension that's on our testbed. So you can think of this like TestFlight, but for Chrome extensions.
Can you zoom in a lot? Can you zoom in?
Yeah.
Screen too big. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
All right. So here you can see we have an extension already uploaded. So this is the Plasmo Itero Web Store. You can think of this like the Chrome Web Store, the Firefox add-on store, but it's Plasmo's version. So the cool thing about this is once I upload an extension, it parses through, like the extension figures out the name and everything. So it looks just like the web store. You have the extension ID here. And then we have this thing called open install page. So when you click on that, I should, let me disable the content script. So when you click on that, it takes you to the install page, right? But if I were to go to this on like a random like Chrome like browser, I would get an error, right? Because Chrome like has this policy, sort of like policy/security model where like you can only install extensions from the Chrome Web Store. That's to prevent sort of like people installing like malware or installing like maybe it's like shady extensions that didn't go through the Chrome Web Store review. But the thing is, like for us, we really want this feature to be for like beta testers and stuff. So we found a way to kind of like get Chrome to sort of trust our web store. So that's kind of what I'm going to demo today. So let me pull up my terminal. And let me just move it over real quick.
Can we run a binary instead? Or do we have to run from the terminal still?
As of right now, still the terminal, because we need to set the setup step as default on Mac. So we haven't done that yet.
I thought it is. Okay, never mind. We can test that later.
So we run the Plasmo binary. Let me run this one. So the idea is when you kind of like onboard, we'll give you a binary, so a Mac one and a Windows one, and then you give it to all your beta testers, like whoever wants to kind of be a beta tester, you give it to them. They run it on their computer. So this is an example of running it on their computer. They wouldn't run it through the terminal. It would be like a double click action. It's like Lotus was just alluding to. But that's something that we need to kind of like get right. So they run this thing. It performs setup. So, okay, where is this?
Oh, your screen too small, but we can see it.
Oh,
it's already opening up. The terminal blocking it though.
Got it.
Oh, it's not even showing the policy installer?
No, it's because, hold on, give me a sec. Here we go. So it's on my other monitor. That's why. Let me drag it. So what the user would see is something like this, right? So they say,
Screen
okay.
too big, man. Screen too big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then basically they would click install on the policy. So when they've done this, it asks so Chrome needs to restart Chrome now. You guys
Okay.
can't see that because the monitor is really big, but they click restart Chrome. Chrome restarts. And then now when they go to this page, they click install extension. They click add extension. Extension's been added. So now when they go to the Chrome extensions page, you'll notice that there's with and design here.
Yeah.
And then,
How about? Sorry.
and then when we click on the pop-up, it shows the with and design Plasma example, which was the thing that was uploaded to the Itero store. Whenever you update the extension, so that involves like clicking this button and updating it, and you set a new version of the manifest. Whenever Chrome performs an update check, so that's usually around every 5 hours, this extension will automatically be updated to all of your users. So that's kind of the idea. It's a way to make it as easy as possible to kind of share your extension with your beta testers. And then on every update, they get the new version. You get to see what the issues are right away, and it allows you to iterate much quicker. Yeah, that's kind of the idea of testbed. So we offer this for Mac and Windows.
I kind of want to show what is the error people would get if they're trying to installing an extension without the binary.
Cool. Yeah. So let me do the opposite of.
Yeah. Let me send you. Let me send you. I just send you. An extension that I just uploaded.
Okay. So yeah. I think it would work. Let me do both. Okay. So let me get out of here. So I don't have the profile anymore. So let me remove this. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So I don't have the profile anymore. And then when I, let me restart Chrome. Now when I go to the page and I click install, it says packages invalid, CRX required, proof missing. So that's what happens when you don't have Plasma testbed installed. So the other thing that's interesting, when you Google CRX proof missing, we actually have a blog post talking all about this. So we did a super deep dive into the Chromium source code to figure out why this was happening, and then we developed a solution to kind of make it work. Yeah, that's the idea. But yeah, that's testbed.
Awesome. Well done, Stefan.
Yeah, so we right now at the moment, the idea is we have a wait list, so we don't want to get too many people kind of onboarded at once, just because like we really want to have it like sort of be a really good experience. So if you like to sign up for the wait list, we have a sign up page on our landing page. So that's plasma.com. And over here, you can put in your email and click get early access. And then once we're ready, we can reach out to you. But for the time being, if you're like super interested in this, like sign up for the early access, and also like you can shoot over an email to us with your kind of like use case and what you're planning to do with it, and sort of this sort of idea. And then maybe we can potentially prioritize like your use case if you can give us a specific one. But otherwise, yeah, just sign up with the waiting list, and we'll get to you when we're ready. But yeah, that's pretty much the idea. When it comes to pricing, that's over here. So this would be included in the Pro package. So that's the testbed web store here. Let me zoom in. So the testbed web store is the thing that we just demoed. This seems to be the like most requested feature. So it's the one that's the most powerful. But we also offer other features like testing on like thousands of sites, and then scanning for secrets. But yeah, at the end of the day, this comes all of this comes with priority support. So yeah, $30 per user in your company per month. So you can give this out, this binary. At the moment, we're sort of capping it at a certain number of beta testers, but that's not included in here. That's sort of like, this is like for your company. Like if 5 engineers in your company use this, that would be 150 a month and stuff. But that's the idea.
Sounds good. I think we are good to go.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Do you want to do the outro?
Sure. I think that's pretty much for Itero, right? For now, this is like the main selling feature that we're trying to get Itero out the door. I think we're going to keep on iterate on it, iterating on the Itero. I think, yeah. I'm actually not sure what we're going to demo next Friday. Actually, we have a lot of. Not sure.
So
we have a lot of stuff we want to do, but
yeah. I think next Friday, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a treat, because there's a lot of stuff that we're sort of like wrapping up behind the scenes, and I think like next Friday is going to be a culmination of a lot of that stuff. So whatever it is, I think people are going to find that interesting. So I don't know. I'm really excited for next Friday, especially.
Perhaps we can also go through a lot of the community. We can do a community extension feature, because a lot of people have been posting the extension on our Build with Plasmo channel on our server.
Yeah, definitely. We can totally. So we can totally do like a demo of community projects.
Yeah.
And maybe make it like an hour and a half instead of like the typical hour we do.
Yeah. That'd be fun actually, like reviewing their code and see what's up, and see what they're struggling with, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, we can also potentially reach out to some of them and see if they want to be like a sort of a guest.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, guesty, bestie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, join the Discord. Plasmo.com/s for social/d for Discord, and you'll be in good company in terms of Chrome extension and almost anything in terms of development. To be honest, I think we have a lot of members now. Our member count is, I think, one of the highest. Like we are the higher end of the Chrome extension development community in terms of Discord servers. So very proud of that. I think community is very, very, I think very responsive, very welcoming. Well, I mean, the one who's answering most of the question are mainly us at the moment. But I think as people grow with the platform and growing with the framework, they can also answer each other too.
Yeah, exactly. I think we started to see that a little bit on GitHub, which is kind of exciting. But yeah, I think we're still a relatively early framework, so people are still getting their bearings, and I think eventually there's going to be a lot of sort of community. I think as it scales, right? Like I don't think it's going to be very possible for us to answer all the questions. So I hope that happens, and I think it will. Just because like we've seen little bits of it here and there, at least today actually. So yeah.
Sounds good. All right, that's about it. Let's wrap it up. Thank you everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Plasmo TV at the Plasmo HQ. We hope to see you next week, and follow and subscribe to our channel, plasmo.com/s for social/TV for television. Or you can also /s/live too, or /Twitch, however you want. Yeah, as long as you follow us or as long as you tune in.
Can they do /t?
/t?
Yeah, does it work that way where it's like it tries to be like tries to be like kind of dot include or whatever?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's hard coded. Yeah, the shortcut is hard coded.
Got it.
Anyway,
cool.
have fun, guys, and see you all.